Hello everyone, Four Eyes here, and welcome back to another Pokemon Showcase for Sun and Moon. This time we are going over Silvally, which is something I don't know where this thing's gonna end up. I don't know. It's such a weird Pokemon. Like I don't see it being OU. That's all I know. I could see it maybe being BL if it gets too strong for UU, but mostly I see it being UU, maybe, possibly. I have no idea. But anyway, Silvaly's a pretty flexible Pokemon. It has base 95 in all of its stats, sort of kind of like the mythical Pokemon, how they have base 100 in all stats. Well, not all the mythical Pokemon, just the little ones. You know the ones I'm talking about, like Mew, Jirachi, stuff like that. They have 100 base 100 all stats. Silvally has base 95 all stats. And it seems kind of just bland at first, base 95 all stats, normal type. Well, it's got RKS system, which helps it be a little bit more flexible with what it can do, since it sort of functions a bit like how Arceus's ability multi-type, where its type changes to match what its held memory, which work a bit differently from the plates, which I'm kind of saddened about because that means it doesn't get the boost from the type outside of stab. But either way, RKS system really helps it out. So what I'm going to be showing off, I'm going to be showing off a lot of sets here, so we'll get there in a bit. But first up that I want to show off is just a standard Life Orb Sword Stance set. Runs Return, Rock Slide, and Shadow Claw. It has a pretty deep move pool, which we'll get into a bit more as the video goes on here, but it's got a lot of options for what you can do, so just keep that in mind as we go through here. Life Orb Sword Stance, pretty decent. Sword Stance, boost your attack, Life Orb. It's just kind of a standard thing. Rock Slide helps you hit some flying types, and if you want to use an OU, I guess it's an option to hit something. I actually don't know what I put Rock Slide on here for, now that I think about it. Huh. Anyway, Shadow Claw is just an option to help you hit ghost types pretty hard, like, I don't know, Gengar or Chandelure or whatever tier it ends up in, whatever the ghost type of that tier is. It's going to hit that pretty hard. It can also help hit some bulky psychic types for a pretty good amount of damage. So Shadow Claw is just a pretty good option. Next up, we have also another Life Orb Sword Stance set. This one's just to show off some more options you can run on the Life Orb Sword Stance set. This one has Double Ed. Again, not sure why I put Rock Slide on there. I'm trying to remember what my reasoning for that was. Maybe just I mean, you could run Fire Fang. Fire Fang's not bad. I guess. I guess it doesn't really. Oh yeah, that's why it doesn't have a big like. It doesn't have that big of like a physical move pool. It has Iron Head. Iron Head's nice for this too. Can help you hit some bulky fairy types, but Double Edge is just gonna hit harder. So it's not really that much that it can do with its physical move pool. It's got U-Turn. U-Turn actually could work, but not on the Sword Stance set. So don't run it there. Run it on something else. Anyway, Crunch, and then Crunch again works a bit like Shadow Claw, but it hits a little bit harder than Shadow Claw did because Shadow Claw is base 70 power, Crunch is base 80, but Shadow Claw has a higher crit ratio, so I guess if you're worried about that, you can go for it. Go for Crit Valley. Crit Valley could be nice. Anyway, and then next up we have a normal type Choice Spec set, which I see being pretty decent. It's got Parting Shot, which is a pretty good pivot move and works well in the choice item sets because you can just get out of there if they predict you and like switch into something that it can take. And then it'll lower their attack and special attack by 1, which is pretty nice for anything that's coming in because they'll get hit less hard by it. Anyway, it runs your standard Bolt Beam, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt, and then it also has Flamethrower to give it a bit more of a bit more coverage. It gives it a lot. It has a lot of coverage on the special side actually, and we'll be getting into that as the video goes on. Next up is the Choice Scarf set, which this can actually the Choice Specs and Choice Scarf set can actually run basically the same moves. I'm just using that to kind of show off some of its options. Which this one, instead of having Thunderbolt and Parting Shot, I put Tri Attack and again U-Turn on there. And U-Turn, just a pivot move, you can use it instead of Parting Shot if you want to get a bit of chip damage rather than lowering their attack and special attack. And Tri Attack is just nice stab, hits pretty hard. You could probably run that on the Choice Spec set for better than Flamethrower maybe. Although Flamethrower does help you hit Steel types, which are going to resist basically every type of attack that you can use, so you might want to keep that on there. If anything, I would probably replace Thunderbolt with Tri Attack actually. And then next up is now we finally get into where we can play around with some of the types. This is water memory Silvally, which is which is nice. Water is a despite being kind of designed as a offensive type, ends up working out really well as I mean, let me start over there. Water, despite being sort of advertised a lot of times as a defensive type, also can really work out well as a offensive type, just because of how little resist its moves. Like, the types that resist its moves are Dragon and Grass. That's it. And Dragon types, you can take care of them with Ice Beam anyway, and then Grass, again, Ice Beam, and they're just kind of not around. Anyway, the water set runs a special set, obviously, because it doesn't get waterfall, so we have to go Surf for our stab. And so we get Surf, Flamethrower, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Standard Bolt Beam, really good. Flamethrower, just also, again, good coverage. It's got some insanely good coverage on the special side, and if it just hits. It hits more, and it just keeps hitting. Keep hitting them with attacks. That's how you win. Unless you're a stall team, which does things a bit differently. We'll get to that someday, maybe, if I'm ever feeling masochistic. Anyway, next up is a set that my friend gave to me. Power Breaker. The little face at the end. What the hell? This one is Normalium Z. I can say that word, I promise. It's Normalium Z, Explosion, Crunch, Rock Slide, Parting Shot. It's basically just to use Normalium Z Explosion, which is a 200 base power physical move. Even on a resist, a lot of things are going to be taking a huge hit from that. And so it's to hit pretty hard. It's so stupid though. I mean, it hits hard. It hits hard. I don't see it being a complete gimmick, but I don't see it being that good. Like, it can be good, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if your team absolutely needs something to just hit super hard on the normal side, I mean, I think there's better options out there, really, for using your Z move slot. But if you want to, go ahead and try it out. Anyway, you'll notice we don't have another options thing over here. Well, there's a reason for that. It's over in this one right here. So, next up is Dark Memory Silvally, which I have decided to call not Bisharp, because look at the set. This is not Bisharp. It runs jolly, it runs physical, dart, and steel coverage like Bisharp. It's not Bisharp. Anyway, it runs Swords Dance, Crunch, Pursuit, Ironhead. Pursuit's nice for trapping psychic types that you can switch on. Ironhead is to hit fairies. Crunch is just your stab move of choice, because it does not get knockoff or sucker punch. Why does it not get knockoff? Why does nothing in this gen get knockoff? God damn it. Okay, lost my train of thought there for a second. Anyway, yeah, it's a nice dark type Silvally. This is what you're going to be running if you want to run Dark Memory on it. And next up is yet another normal type one. Normal type is kind of the best type for Silvally, since it has more flexibility with items, but a lot of its memories really aren't that great. The only ones I really see getting use are the water memory, the dark memory, and possibly the fire memory. I'm not really sure on that one, but I guess you could use the steel memory too for a nice defensive set, which isn't in here. I should have put that in here, huh? Anyway, this one is a mixed Silvally with Workup, Frustration, Air Slash, and Ice Beam. Frustration is just, the same thing as Return, only with Happiness 0. And then Air Slash and Ice Beam are just some really nice special attacks. Runs a nice split between attack and special attack in order to hit as hard as possible on each side against things that it'll be relevant against. And Workup just boosts both of your attack and special attack sets, so it's pretty nice for a mixed attacker like Silvally. Runs Life Orb just to creak that extra power out. And then this one, again, another Workup set. This one runs Crunch over Ice Beam, because it's another good option just in case you run into like some sort of bulky ghost type or psychic type or something like that, which can take your Frustration or Air Slash. The next up, we got another little thing. This is Lil Volley. This is Silvally's previous evolution, Type Null, which I could see getting use in whatever tier is below what Silvally is in, because Type Null is bulky as hell. Like, this thing is actually, I think it's even bulkier than Porygon 2. I'm not really sure. I'd have to compare the stats. Let's actually do that right now. Porygon 2 and type. Wait, what the hell? I was typing in the item box. There we go. Type null. Go over here. There we go. So 95. It's wow. Yeah, it actually is bulkier than Porygon 2. Porygon 2 is a bit better in the offensive department, but Type Null overall will be bulkier with its Eviolite. Although Porygon 2 does have one thing over Type Null, which is reliable recovery and recover, which Type Null does not get. Type Null really only has like really only has rest to get. Does it get Leech Life? No, it does not get Leech Life. It just has rest really to recover with. So you're gonna have to be a little careful with that. It can work over Porygon 2 maybe if you need something more, something less passive, I guess, because Porygon 2 is pretty passive with what its move pool does. Type Null, you can run a bit more offensively, I guess, is the way I could put it. You can run a bit more aggressively. That's a good word for it. But anyway, this one is just Swords Dance Return, Rock Slide, Shadow Claw, because again, its physical move pool sucks. You could run Fire Fang over Rock Slide if you want, but Shadow Claw is going to be doing a pretty good trick against Steel types anyway. So, yeah, this one's just basic. You can run physically defensive on it, I guess, if you want to. Why would you want to, though? Because it doesn't get recovery, so it's kind of stupid there. I don't know. Anyway, moving on is this one. We just got some more options here. This one is Silvally. You can run it a bulkier set instead of a fast set, which all these sets were either like Jolly or Timid or whatever. And you could run a bit more fast set with like 252 HP and a bit of fast set, a bit of a bulky set with 252 HP and leftovers to just get some incidental recovery back as you go on. As for move options, it gets both Draco Meteor and Dragon Claw, which Dragon isn't that great of a type unless you have Stab on it, and so that's why I wouldn't really recommend running this on this unless you're using Dragon Memory Silvally, which could work. I could get behind that. Again, Fire Fang, as I mentioned throughout the video, helps hit Steel types, and then also you got Toxic, which you could run on Silvally over here if you run like a defensive set with it. And then moving on to even more options. Silvally works pretty well with an Assault Vest, just because it's got pretty decent natural special bulk with it. Just base 95 is a pretty nice benchmark for every stat. I don't know if it works well together when they're all base 95 though, but we'll see about that. But anyway, Assault Vest works pretty well with it. You can use X Scissor if you really want to get that Bug Stab in. But bug coverage. But again, bug coverage, not that great unless you are a bug type, or unless you really, really need to hit both Psychic and Dark types. But I don't see that happening since there's a million other options for those throughout the rest of your team. And then you can run a sort of Rest Talk set with it. As I mentioned, Rest is only form recovery. If you want to, I guess you could do Resto Chesto, give you a recovery. I don't know. Does it get bulk up, actually? No, it does not get bulk up, so never mind. I mean, Resto Chesto, it still works either way. But and then also you got Substitute. You can run it on any of the various Swords Dance sets, which I showed. It'll work pretty well with them. And yeah, that's about it. Overall, I'm not really sure where Silvally is going to end up. It has options. It has options, and it's got a lot of flexibility of what you can do with it. With the memories, I just showed off what I think are the best ones, which are the water and dark ones. But overall, I'm not really sure about it. I don't see it making an OU. It'll maybe make it in UU, but I'm not sure if it'll even end up there. It might end up floating somewhere in one of the BLs. It's a weird Pokemon. It's a weird Pokemon to evaluate. It's hard to tell just exactly how good it will be. But yeah, if you want to get out there and go use it, you can use any of the options I use here, or you can use something more. You use Fire Memory, Steel Memory, Dragon Memory, Bug Memory, Psychic Memory, all the memories. You know, memories. Memories like the ones your grandpa used to tell of the war, or the ones that you have of the war. You know, the war. Oh God. I just remember the screams of the children. we couldn't see in the dark, and then the Germans just came pouring in, and we couldn't see anything aside from the flash of the gunshots, and before we knew it, we were surrounded, and just all I could hear were the screams, just the screams.